Hey guys, welcome back to the BV podcast. My name is Rian and I am so glad to have you guys here with me today. So let's get into the episode. So for this episode, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a life update and just catch you guys up on everything that's been going on. One big thing is I've been dealing with a little bit of decision fatigue in this transitional period of my life. So as you guys know, I graduated about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, with my undergraduate degree, and I've been applying to a lot of grad programs and medical school. And I did get an acceptance, but then I did also get the option to defer it for another year. And I feel like since it's such a huge decision, I am feeling a little bit of decision fatigue because it also does come with a lot of moving parts, right? Like if I decide to go this year, I will literally be packing up and moving halfway across the country and having to like settle in, figure things out, like whole new city. It's a place I never visited before. It's definitely out west and it's more of a country vibe, right? Like western country. And I've always been a city girl. Like I've lived in the cities my whole life. I never really saw myself living kind of in a rural area. Is that like what, I don't even know if that's the word to describe it, but it's like it's such a big change of environment. So that is like one of the top things like on my list. But then it's like it's such an amazing opportunity, right? Because I've worked for this not my whole life, but the past couple of years I've definitely been working towards this. And I feel like this decision fatigue is coming with like whether or not I want to defer, right? Like do I want to just spend another year traveling, figuring myself out, doing my passion projects, focusing on my health, like all those things? Or should I, like go pack up, move, and get started on all of this? And it's a lot, like graduate programs, medical school, law school, whatever it is extremely tough and extremely time consuming. So it's kind of just like figuring out routines and what my schedule would look like. And also I know absolutely nobody out there, so like having to meet new people and just like it's very nerve-wracking, and I feel like that is kind of just a little daunting right there. And there's also like so many other aspects to think about, especially when it comes to moving, right? Like I need to set up my own apartment, find an apartment, and just like figure out every little detail. Like it's a lot of work. And it's also so crazy because I did just move about 5 months ago and I'm not even like settled in yet. So it's like having to pack up again and then move halfway across the country, which is a lot more daunting because it's just a big move altogether. But I will be honest, I am super excited. But there's also like kind of like that fear lingering in the back, like what if this isn't for you, right? Like there's a time where all the what ifs just started like flooding into my brain and I was getting so overwhelmed. And it was exhausting having to kind of just like comb through all the what ifs and make all these big decisions for myself. So I decided to go on YouTube, go on TikTok, and like see people's experiences and like what they had to say. And they're like, my phone just got flooded with a bunch of people that decided to drop out of graduate programs or drop out of med school. And I feel like that just scared me a little bit more because I've been so cautious about what I actually want and making sure everything just aligns with me. And to see so many people that also worked just as hard to get in and worked really hard to pass their classes and stuff like that decide to walk away from it is extremely daunting to me. Like, I feel like that was one of the scariest things because it was something that they didn't want anymore. Like, they didn't genuinely want. And I'm like, I'm not exactly 100% sure because I don't even know what to expect going into it. So after having my whole fear episode, I decided to talk to some family members and mentors and just like see, or like, get advice on how I should like make my final decision. And I guess like the main thing there was they encouraged me to at least try, right? Like, might as well go and see whether or not it's for me, because I do have the opportunity on a silver platter. And like, it's very normal to try and sabotage yourself, especially after you finally get what you want, right? After you worked years day in and day out to get what you actually wanted, you want to take a step back because it scares you. And I'll be 100% honest, it definitely scared me, because for the longest time it was a dream that was just somewhat far away, right? Like, just out of arm's reach. And now that it's like knocking on my door, it's like, yo, like, you got into medical school, you get to go and do what you actually want to do. It becomes really daunting because it's like, okay, like, now this is real. Like, now I am packing up, moving away from my family, and I'm really doing it, you know what I mean? So that is why it's so daunting at first and so terrifying. And I'll definitely keep you guys updated on this because it's such a huge event in my life. So yeah, I'll definitely be sharing a little bit more about that as time goes on. Anywho, besides that, I've honestly have just been slowing down a little bit more because I tend to get into this go, go, go mindset, and then I kind of forget about myself along the way. So just having a little bit more cues and paying attention to when I need a break is just super, super important to me, because these past couple weeks I've been extremely social. And I'm honestly exhausted. Like, my social battery died probably like a week and a half ago. For me personally, I never really consider myself a extrovert or an introvert. I'm kind of like in the in between. Like, I love having conversations with people. I love putting myself out there, going to social events, but then I also need to have my quiet time to just like be quiet for a while, chill at home, relax. Like, there's always that two sides to the coin to me. But yeah, I've definitely been super, super social lately, which is why I've been so dead on socials. I haven't really been posting much, and it's been great, honestly. Like, I know I don't necessarily have to post. I choose to do those things, but then it's like, kind of just stepping away for a while is really nice, and to just have a little bit more privacy and not really share that with the world. You know what I mean? So I'm proud of myself for really taking a step back and like seeing how exhausted I was from all these social events and meeting new people, that I decided to just rest and take the time to actually recharge. And I'm not gonna lie, my social battery does take a long time to recharge. And I do prefer this a lot more than crashing, right? Like, I tend to kind of go back into that go mindset where I'm just constantly doing things, talking to people, writing emails. It gets exhausting at some point. Like, you need maybe like a day or two to hit the brakes. And I've definitely kind of lost track of that for the past couple weeks. Like, I would be busy all week, then busy on the weekends. So just like taking a step back has been wonderful. It has been so calming, and I'm just kind of like hitting a full reset, if you know what I mean. Another thing that I definitely noticed during my transition period, or just like something that I became more aware of, is how I carry pressure. Like, I carry a lot of pressure and I carry it quietly. Many people wouldn't even like notice how overwhelmed I am because I don't always show it. And that's mainly because I'm the type of person that likes to keep it moving, right? Like, I like to figure it out on my own, deal with it by myself, and just like get to the other side. But during this transition period for me, I definitely learned that that is not sustainable, right? Because I don't always have to have it all together. I don't always have to take on every hard task, right? And it's okay to ask for help because people are always happy to help, and we were never really meant to move through this world alone, right? Like, we're always meant to collab and we're always meant to help each other out. And I feel like that is something that I definitely need to work on further, because I do tend to just take things on head on, you know what I mean, by myself. Like, I'm not exactly sure why I'm the way that I am, but then I've always been one to put a lot of pressure on myself, right? And it takes a lot for me to admit that I need help or admit that I'm tired. So I just continue to perform and keep producing to keep things going, you know what I mean? And I feel like it takes such a big toll on you emotionally, mentally, physically. And if you're mentally tired, you're physically tired, you know what I mean? So, like, being able to pause and just kind of like move through life a little bit more slowly made me realize like all these things. I'm not alone. I have all these amazing people around me, and they can definitely help me take off some of the load. So yeah, I am currently trying to learn to lean a little bit on other people, and honestly just understanding that I can be unsure about things, that I can be scared, right, but also be independent and do things on my own, but still ask for help when I need it. Like, those things don't really cancel each other out, right? I used to genuinely think that needing support meant that I wasn't capable of doing it on my own. So if I could do it on my own, I should do it alone. But then over time, it's just realizing that being strong and being independent doesn't necessarily mean doing everything by yourself, but learning when to pause and knowing when to like lean on others. So yeah, anywho, I feel like this transition period as a whole was extremely exciting, but also extremely exhausting, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of them. And I feel like I learned so much about myself. This season kind of forced me to slow down and acknowledge when I'm tired, and it's not always a bright idea to push through, because burnout is not something that I want to experience again or want to put myself through again. And I also learned that not every burden I have to carry by myself. Like, I learned to trust other people. I learned to lean on other people. I also learned that not everything is going to go your way, but at the same time, you're going to be gaining something from it, right? It's going to go the way that is best for you, if that makes any sense. I also learned to sit with the fact that I don't need all the answers. And honestly, maybe I don't. Like, right now, there's so many decisions that I do need to eventually make. But then, do I need to make them right now? No. And also to just like be honest with myself, right? Because I just can't abandon myself when things get uncomfortable, because transitions are usually one of the hardest things that we're ever going to do, and it's going to be extremely uncomfortable, and you just have to try and make the best decision for yourself. I feel like one of the hardest decisions for me these past couple years was leaving a research job that I absolutely loved, but then I I really just needed to make that decision for myself, and I was not really getting what I wanted out of it anymore, and I knew that it was time for me to move on. Therefore, it was a hard decision to leave, but then it was something that I needed to do at the time. So before I end this episode, I wanted to leave you guys with a few tips and tricks that I use while I was coping with my transition period. So yeah, first things first is letting go of the need to control everything. And I know this one's so hard. It was definitely hard for me. But just like remembering, just because something isn't certain doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Sometimes uncertainty is like where the most growth actually happens. So just like be a little bit more open-minded, right? You don't need to know every answer right now, and you just have to just make the right decision for you as time goes on. And honestly, you just have to trust yourself at the end of the day that you will make the right decision for you, because if you don't trust yourself, a lot of doubts will start creeping in, and it will take you a whole lot longer to make these decisions. And then when you make the decision, you're gonna start second guessing yourself. So whenever you make the decision, stick by the decision. Anywho, another thing is take your slow days extremely seriously. Like right now, I'm learning to rest, and I feel like resting is a responsibility, because honestly, the last thing you want to do is lose yourself in the process. So prioritize your rest, learn to rest, calm your mind, find things that you genuinely enjoy to do, things that bring you a little bit of peace, and make sure you do those things often. Another thing is to just make sure I check in with myself emotionally, physically, mentally, because a lot of the times we tend to forget ourselves. Like there's definitely times in my life where I forgot to eat, or I was holding in my breath without realizing, and honestly it will eventually take a toll on you, and it's something that you don't really want to experience. So make sure you check in on yourself more often, maybe like once a week, twice a week, every day if you can. And yeah, another thing is also don't compare yourself to other people. Like this past couple weeks, I've been reconnecting with a lot of my high school friends and just like seeing where everybody was at. And when I tell you guys, everybody is having amazing milestones, and I am absolutely proud and so excited. Like I have friends getting married, I have friends graduating, I have friends getting their dream jobs, and I'm like, that is absolutely amazing. And when you're in a transition period, everything looks a little bit more slow, right? Like everything is slowed down a bit. You don't really look like you're being productive, but then you're doing a lot of internal work and you're working behind the scenes. It's not huge milestones. However, it's low wins here and there. So yeah, just remembering that we are all living different stories, and mine doesn't have to exactly look like everybody else's in order to be valid. Like my small wins are important, and like even if a lot of people aren't celebrating it, I'm celebrating it, and I feel like that's more important to me. And last but not least is just allowing yourself to really feel the transition, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, whenever I make huge decisions or kind of go through a transition period, I go through like an emotional roller coaster. Let's say that. Yeah, I definitely go through an emotional roller coaster, and it kind of feels like a release. So it's kind of like making space for the next version of myself. I did it when I graduated. I did it when I quit my 3 jobs. Like I did it when I started this podcast. Like it's definitely an emotional roller coaster, and you just need to allow yourself to feel it and just let yourself be in the transition period. And honestly, if you're also in a similar space where you're making a lot of decisions and you're kind of transitioning into a newer version of yourself, just know that you're not alone. And even if it feels quiet or confusing or uncomfortable, it's also a very exciting part of our lives. So just be a little bit more gentle on yourself, and also give your mind a little bit of grace, right? Because you don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a 5-step plan. You honestly just need to know that you have your own back and you're just not giving up on yourself, because that is the last thing that you should be doing. Anywho, that is all I have for you guys today. This was a lot longer than I anticipated, but yeah, if you like this episode, please let me know in the comments. And if you guys like this podcast, feel free to share it with your friends, family, or anybody that you think would like it. And if you guys ever want to connect, I am on socials. You can probably find me on almost every platform at Rian's POV. And I do love hearing from you guys. So yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.